Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I have a very, very good video idea to bring you all. I am going to be going through every player in the Liverpool squad and giving you my verdict on whether we keep them, sell them, or loan them. But I'm not going to be doing it on my own. I am joined, as always, by a very, very special guest, a person that a lot of you will know, my good friend and avid fellow Liverpool fan from TikTok and YouTube, George Scaife. Scaife, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited. Keep blow and sell. I reckon. I think I've got about four or five sells, maybe three or four.
Only,
Oh, really? You got more? Wow.
yeah, man.
Top of the league, Jonathan.
I know, I'm not gonna lie though. I mean, I have,
I'm
I think
interested. So you got to say now. Right, go on.
I I think I have six or seven. I think I have six or seven, but
Oh,
we'll see. We'll, I can think of three and the forwards alone anyway.
okay,
But,
okay.
but we'll see. I think as we were saying just before we recorded this, I think a lot of these we can go through quickly, and then others and certain ones like the contract situations with certain players and that obviously we'd have
Mm.
to have a bit of a chat about. I think just the best way of doing it is we just go through each player and then just have a chat, see if we agree or disagree. So we will
Cool.
start off in goal, and this is going to be a quick one. Let's be real. Alison Becker.
Oh, it's a definite keep. It's a weird one, keeper, because obviously Mamadashvili's come in and it puts Kelleher in a weird position because I would assume Mamadashvili, outstanding, he's going to be coming in to replace Kelleher, which seems unfortunate. Kelleher's played more games than he usually plays in a season. Allison's been out for a bit, and he's played well when he's played.
Yeah.
Some really his shot stopping so impressive. I mean, you're obviously an Ireland fan, so he's your number one, I guess. I bet you absolutely treasure him as an Ireland fan because
Yeah.
he's young, his shot stopping's great. I think his distribution's got perhaps a bit to be desired, but as a young keeper, what more can you ask for? I think he's got a I don't know if we're on Kelleher yet, but I'll probably move on to Kelleher for us. I think he's got to leave for his sake. It's not so
Yeah.
much I want him gone. He's not done enough, or he's absolutely done enough. But I'd feel bad leaving him on the bench as a third choice because he's
Mm.
absolutely better than that. So I would actually sell Kelleher. I think he deserves more than playing the cup games. To be honest with
Mm. No, I agree, mate. Obviously Allison is a keep, and I
you,
do
yeah,
believe he will finish his career in Brazil. I think he's mentioned it or hinted at it. I do believe he will finish his career in Brazil. He is now into his 30s, so I think maybe two more seasons at Liverpool, and then I think he
hmm
probably leaves. But as we've seen against PSG, he's still the best in the world. I don't care what anybody says. He is, and on his day like that, or well, he's never bad, but when he is at his absolute best, which is often,
yeah,
even his average is still incredibly good. It's world class. He can literally save you. He can literally save you. So Alisson's an obvious keep, but
yeah,
obviously, as you were mentioning with Mamardashvili, he must be. You've got to think he's being brought in as a number two, and that leaves Queeveen in a very, very precarious position. I think Kelleher might have went last summer if Liverpool had an actual replacement ready to go. But now that Mamardashvili is coming in, it's probably Kelleher sell. It probably is Kelleher sell, but as you were
yeah.
mentioning, like he's so good. He is so good. Like he's
It's
our best
yeah.
player. He's Ireland's best player. Like, do you know what I
I
mean?
think that's
Like he,
saying more about you, to be fair,
yeah,
than Kelleher.
I know, but like he's really good. Like I think Kelleher starts for the vast majority of Premier League teams, Like I
Yeah,
mean,
it's rare you get one of these kind of like non-malicious sells. Like we've got nothing bad to say about him, but he definitely deserves better. And I think yeah, he could start for seventh, eighth downwards in the Premier League. I don't see
yeah,
why not at all. Even I
yeah.
look at Newcastle, right, and obviously Newcastle's bids in the cup, so
Mm,
they'd say, well, no, Nick Pope's definitely better. But I think Nick Pope has shown this year. I think he's overrated personally, and I think
yeah.
Kelleher has shown this year that he could definitely compete. Maybe not start, but compete for a Newcastle place. And look at
Mm,
them; they're flying this year. So
yeah.
Kelleher leave, but a good leave, definitely.
100%. Yeah. I mean, for me, he starts for Newcastle. He definitely starts for Chelsea. For me, he starts for
Yeah.
15 or 16 teams in the
Mm.
Premier League. But yeah, obviously, Allison Key, Queven Kelleher, a sell because of what's happening at the club. And
Yep.
also, he deserves a number one spot somewhere. And let's hope it's a big club because he deserves it. Vidislav Yaros. I mean, keep. He played
Yeah, you need a
once or
third
twice
choice.
this
Yeah,
season. Yeah, Trent Alexander-Arnold. I mean, whatever we say here obviously has no bearing on what's actually going to happen, but it feels like the longer and longer this goes on that he's not going to be a Liverpool player next
yeah.
season.
Are you saying Trent is not watching the Jonathan Moore YouTube channel because you never know? He might be swayed by this conversation alone.
I might have
I
popped up on his TikTok before or something like
He
that.
definitely will have, yeah. He definitely
Yeah.
will have, I think. Um, it's an interesting one. I think he is the most likely of the three to leave. I think that's
Mm,
pretty clear with all these bids coming in. I mean, there's apparently been some undisclosed bid from Real Madrid, but is that a secret, really? I think we knew that was going to happen anyway. We knew that had happened. I think keep. I think we saw against Newcastle. I mean, assuming right, let's assume the contract wasn't a thing. Assume he had 2 years left. Would you want to keep
mm,
or sell him? I definitely want to keep him. Look at the
yeah.
Newcastle game. We had nothing down the right hand side. I thought Quansah did it all right given the circumstances, but he is no creative outlet. Trent is irreplaceable in terms of the assets he has, the attributes he has. I think Connor Bradley's ace. I think I like Connor Bradley
Me
more than
too.
most, to be fair.
Yeah.
But even he can't replace what Trent does. He can't replicate what Trent has done in terms of just absolutely switching. I mean, switching the ball, but switching the game on its head. He can turn a game on its head like that
Yeah.
with one pass, and no one, I don't think, in the league, bar
Mm.
maybe a Kevin De Bruyne or anyone can do that. I'd keep him absolutely.
Yeah, me too. I mean, like as you were saying there, Scaife, like turn a game on its head. I think the worst thing to happen to us in that PSG game was Trent going off because I
Yeah.
mean Liverpool had a proper foothold in that game then, and Trent you could see in that second half was just going through the
Mm,
gears. Like he was creating things happen. He was creating things. He was he was good. He was decent defensively. He was getting up the pitch. He was making things happen. But yeah, it's a definite keep. But
yeah.
most likely by now, well, not most likely, but I'd say his head at this stage is more swayed by a move away than it is to actually stay,
I
which
agree.
is which is sad, but it is what it is. Keep obviously for Trent, Connor Bradley. I
Keep,
mean,
definitely.
it's
I
an
think he's my
obvious
favourite
keep.
player in the team. I love everything
Really,
about him.
I
Yeah.
do love him too.
Proper trier, you know what I mean? You can't fault his work ethic. That goes for a few of these lads, by the way. And I think that'll be my argument, my counter argument for you
Mm.
saying one of these lads should be sold. Maybe in the front
I
line.
I
Probably know
can
who I'm
think
talking about. But yeah,
I
Bradley's
do.
definitely keep for me.
It's funny. Bradley is absolutely a definite keep, and I think Bradley at the age of 21 can become a world class
Mm,
fullback in the future. I absolutely love him as well. Defensively, I think he is a lot better than Trent. I will say that defensively, he gets stuck in. His tackling is really,
yeah,
really good. Going forward, he is good. Absolutely. Obviously, nobody. I don't think any right back I've ever seen has had has had the ability to do what Trent does going forward.
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I, I genuinely don't, and that's not a ridiculous thing to say at all. But
It's if
Bradley,
you set this if you set that standard, it's like going on second after the Beatles in a concert. It's like you
100%.
cannot, as a support act, you cannot top what Trent can do. But
Yeah.
Bradley for something entirely different. I think we've seen this year. It's kind of underlapping, is inverting. Trent's done that, but the way Bradley's just so almost potent with his runs, he will
Yeah.
take a man. I don't think Trent's ever done that. He'll take a fullback with him, Bradley, and leave Salah on his
Mm,
own. Maybe that's. I think in the future, why I want Salah to stay because I think him and Bradley, that dynamic is so brilliant, and he will
yeah.
create so much room for him, overlapping as well. Trent, I mean, certainly recently hasn't particularly been overlapping. We saw it with maybe Trent 2018-19, and that's almost what we're seeing with Bradley. Now it's almost like he's in his kind of shadow,
Yeah.
in terms of the way he's playing. I think Bradley's superb, and he will be. We will have to change the way we play. I think if Trent leaves and Bradley comes in, definitely we won't be as dominant on the ball, certainly down the right hand side. But what he can do is he can change a game, Bradley.
100%. Yeah. And I think the great thing about Bradley as well, he doesn't fear anybody or any
Yeah.
team. He
That
seems to.
Mbappe tackle, remember that one?
Exactly.
Mate.
I was there, and man, it was
Yeah,
it was genuinely celebrated like a goal. It was
yeah,
crazy, like, but the celebration was absolutely fitting for how good the tackle was. He seems to rise up to any occasion. If he's 100% fit, he always gives his best, and he always gives a really good performance. So yeah, look, he's a definite keep, and thankfully we have a very good ready to go replacement for Trent if Trent does
yeah.
go to Real Madrid. On to the centre backs. Now, this is going to be interesting. We might as well just go with the two obvious ones. Well, we'll go with the first obvious one and then move on to the other.
Yeah,
Ibu Kanate. It's an obvious keep,
yeah,
isn't it?
keep. We'll keep both of them definitely. Van Dijk, keep. Yeah,
Van Dijk. Van Dijk is an obvious keep, but will he stay? That's the question.
I think he
And
will. I think he's the most likely of the three to stay. And that all these PSG things, all these Saudi things I'm saying, I think it's a load of nonsense. I don't think there's any substance at all. I mean, watch him go now, and people fucking screenshot this, whatever. I think he has. He's
imagine.
got the most. I think he's got the most reason to perhaps stay Van Dijk over Trent.
Me
And I
too.
think Trent. I can entirely see why he'd be turned. I do think there's obviously a massive argument from being a Scouser and future captain, which for me overshadows the Real Madrid thing. But I can see why you're going. But
Mhm.
Van Dijk has like he'd start for any team in the world, but I just think
Mm,
for how long? Do you think Van
mm,
Dijk's got
mm.
5, 6, 7 years left in him? Because I personally don't. I think as good as he is,
Yeah.
I think this is perhaps. I think maybe the next 2 years will be perhaps his worst 2 years in a while.
I think from what we've seen this season, I think he has another 2 seasons anyway at the top level. But after that, I think, at a very good level, but maybe not competing. I don't know. It's kind of weird because he's so athletic. He is very, very quick. There's not really like, I mean, look at after the injury, and then there's been different kind of parts of his game that you've seen
Yeah.
for a while that weren't as good. But this season, it doesn't look like that. I mean, his pace, his recovery pace is as good as it's ever been. He'll
Mm.
never lose that aerial ability. Even if Van Dijk was slow, he'd still be an unbelievable defender to have in your
Yeah.
team. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's his
I think
ball
my
playing
point
ability
is,
as well.
yeah,
So,
I agree. I just think where my point is, he's got the most reason to stay at the three because
mm,
where is he going to go? I don't think Real Madrid want a 35-year-old Van Dijk in a
yeah.
couple of years. Barcelona certainly don't. Maybe Bayern
Mm,
Munich, there's an argument there, a top team. PSG, that has really swayed me, seeing the talking with, was it the owners or someone to do with Saudi in the back room? Did you see that? And that's
yeah.
really shook things. PSG, I did not think they were on the cards at all.
No.
I just think Liverpool, I mean, obviously not Arsenal, not Man
Mhm.
City. Liverpool in the Premier League is the only team he's going to be going to, and I think he'll
Yeah.
stay. I think he'd
Yeah.
stay for a good couple of years.
Yeah, me too. And I have seen like since those rumors on X about PSG and that there was a very reliable PSG journalist who actually came out and said that there's nothing founded in those links. Now,
Right.
whatever, look, I mean, time will tell whether there actually is anything or whatever. But yeah, I think he is the most likely to stay. He's the captain. I think
Mm,
it would be an absolute disaster if he was allowed to leave, especially for FSG. It brings so much heat on them, as would obviously Salah going, but any of these two.
yeah.
It's a keep, obviously, and I do believe he will stay. I'd be very surprised if he didn't. Next, now are two interesting ones. We'll start with Joe Gomez. Now, I think one of these will definitely go, if not two, in the summer. Joe Gomez or Gerald Kwanzaa. We'll start with Joe Gomez. And I would honestly say sell.
I think he'll stay. I would want him to be sold. I don't feel particularly passionate about selling Joe. Oh, we must sell Joe Gomez or else.
Mhm.
But he's just injured too much. I
Yeah,
think he offers great flexibility across the back three, especially last year playing left back for the majority. He can play centre back. I still think he's quick and obviously he's tall. He's strong. His physical attributes stand out more than his attributes on the ball for me. And in this team, Arne Slot wants to play. He's our third best passer at the back. He's probably our third best at reading the game. He is just third best, and I think we
yeah,
can bring in someone better third best who's going to play whenever. I want a third best, an understudy who's available. That's your job as an understudy. You have to be there and back these centre backs up. But if Konate goes down, I'm looking on the bench and it's always Kwanzaa who's fit. It's never Joe Gomez who's meant to be our
mm,
third choice because
I
he's always
know.
injured. And it's
Yeah.
a frustrating one. It's a theme with a few of these players.
Mhm.
Jota will speak about later. It's almost at no fault of his footballing ability. I think he should leave. I'm getting a call. Sorry.
Oh, you're
Um,
right.
anyway, Karen. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think he will. I think he will stay, but I do want him to leave. I've got to say.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree, mate. Like, I mean, I think he's good. I've always liked Joe Gomez. I think before he had that really bad injury a few years ago, he was absolutely class. He was really good. I don't think he was
Mm,
ever like top top. I don't think he would. Let's put it this way. I don't think he was ever like top like Ibu, But at the same time, he was near that. I would honestly say he was near that before that injury. But then since then, the injuries have just kept
Yeah.
coming and coming and coming. Like Jota, he's a bit like that at centre half. And I think at 27, he's not getting any younger. Liverpool probably need to cash in now. But
Mm,
coming on to Gerald Kwanzaa at 22 years of age, I would honestly say keep. I would. I like Gerald Kwanzaa. I think he was really good before that mistake against Manchester United. Afterwards, you could certainly see at the start of the season and for much of this season him really struggling with confidence. Defensively, nowhere near as strong.
yeah.
And look, you could certainly see that he wasn't the same player as we originally seen last season. But I think
Hmm.
over the last kind of month or so, he's been a lot better. Uh, Obviously, he can fill in at right back as well, which gives him that bit of versatility. I'm not sure if Slot loves him, but Slot has played him more now over this last while. And look, there's big potential at 22, and a lot of people don't rate him that highly, but I think he's certainly more good performances in a Liverpool shirt than bad ones. He gets a bit too much stick for my liking,
Yeah.
really.
I hear what you're saying. I've got to say sell. I would. It's a weird one with Quanta because he's kind of in the middle range between you're selling him for profit or you're selling him just because he ain't good enough. I think
Yeah,
if you're selling him, you're not getting 35 million. You're not getting. I don't think you're getting 30, to be honest with you. I think you're getting
yeah.
25 million for Quanta. I'd entirely. I'm on the
Mm.
level of I think he's a bit worse than. That's harsh. That's too harsh. You said before he's had more good performances than bad. I
Yeah.
agree you need that at Liverpool, but it needs to be significantly in your favour. And I think he's made
Mm.
so many, maybe not so many, but he's made noticeable errors this year. I look back at the West Ham game. There's a lot of problems, and I thought he actually did himself proud. He could probably put his head up high against Newcastle,
Me
filled in as a
too.
right back there.
And
He's
PSG
not
when he
meant.
came on, he was so
Yeah, no, I
good.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree. He was thrown in there, and he should not be in the opponent's own third, let alone in their own box. And he was at times dribbling with the ball. But I think as a centre back, I want, as I said before,
Mhm.
I'm all for he starts games and he's sorry, he's available for games. He just doesn't offer any kind of improvement on Konate, any kind of improvement on Van Dijk, which is very hard to do. But if Liverpool win the league this year, I want a third choice centre back who's as good as Konate, who's
Mm.
as almost maybe competing with Konate. That's what Liverpool should have. Look at Man City; they've got three or
Yeah.
four centre backs there who can all play.
Yeah.
Real Madrid as well, a couple centre backs who can all come in. We've got two. And I think Konate, if he does, sorry, Quansah, if he does still be fourth choice, I don't think he'll be
Yeah.
third. So maybe
Yeah.
keep for that reason.
Yeah. I hear that, and I agree. If Gomez goes, and I think he probably will, we need somebody better than him or closer to the level of Ibu, to actually compete to start in that center half
Mm,
partnership. But I would keep Kwanzaa for one more year as a fourth choice, as you mentioned. And I don't even think at the age of 22 with Ibrahim Kanade and Van Dijk, apart from barring injuries, he won't he doesn't expect to get a ton
yeah.
of minutes in this team. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
So yeah, I'm saying keep, but you're saying sell unless he's a fourth choice. But that's kind of what I'm thinking.
yeah. Okay, yeah. That's what we'll say keep. I'll give him benefit of the
Yeah,
doubt. Yeah.
fair. Costa Simicast. I'm interested to see what you say here.
One of them has to go. I think we all know that now. I think
Mm,
it's more about buy, let alone keep or sell. I think we need to buy someone in. It, I think Simicast. I think Robertson's a better player than Simicast. I
yeah,
just
me
think
too.
he is, but I do think he's more inconsistent. I think we are
Yeah,
seeing that this has been probably his worst season, or a weaker season. I mean, I've not seen a Liverpool player put in a good corner since Simicast.
I know.
Was it to Jota in? Was it Nottingham Forest
Forest,
that game?
Forest, yeah,
Or
I
the game in
know.
the cup final. The cup final against Chelsea was the last good corner I've seen in my life. Anyway,
Mm.
that's another
It's
story.
true.
But I think Robertson offers more defensively, but it depends how you want to play. I think if Bradley's come, say Trent goes and Bradley's playing there, I want Simicast in, and I want ideally someone else in. Really, I just think Simicast offers more balance. I think he's more consistent. I would sell Robertson, and that's with a heavy heart.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm so torn. I'm so torn between this. So you're keeping Simi and you're
I would
selling
seriously, honestly
Robin.
think about. I would lean on selling them both as opposed to keeping them both. If Liverpool win the league, you have
Yeah.
to refresh, and we need a serious refresh on that left hand side. But
Yeah.
again, they've not done anything significantly bad, really.
Mm.
But it's about improving. We can't
Yeah,
just, we're not a charity. We can't sit there and say we'll keep Robertson because he's been here 8 years, or we'll keep
100%.
Simicast because we like him as a character. You've got to be ruthless as champions and improve when you're ahead.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. And that was our biggest fault in 2020 when we won the Premier League. We brought in like Adrian
Yeah.
in the next summer transfer window because FSG just they just want to hold their money
And
so
there's also
close to
there's
heart.
no excuses. I understand why
No.
then we couldn't really bring anyone in because we brought in Van Dijk and Alisson and Fabinho in the prior years. We've brought in no one since Szoboszlai and McAllister. This year we've been
Facts.
so quiet. You
Yeah,
gotta you gotta go big. Yeah,
100%. All we brought in is Fetty, and Fetty was what 15 million, and he's barely even playing. So it's
yeah,
crazy. Like I mean,
yeah.
I would be 10 minutes there. I would be so annoyed, I swear, if and I expect Liverpool to go all out this summer transfer window, but I'd be so annoyed if we
Yeah,
didn't. I reckon thered be a good few outs, and there should be some big, significant ins. No excuse after winning the
I
Premier League
agree.
title. But Simi, I'd probably say. Like it's such a tough one. I'd probably go sell Simicast because at 28 you get some sort of a half decent price. Keep Robbo and then sign Kirkes. And
Mm,
I do think
yeah.
Kirkes will be a Liverpool player.
Who's
I
a
think
better backup?
especially
Who's a better understudy? Robertson or Simicas to
Rob
Kirkez?
Robbo, 100%. Both of us really, really like Harvey Elliott at 21
Mm,
years of age. I'm scared he might go this summer. I really am. Like, I mean, Slot has been weird with a few of these players, and it's only lately he's playing Harvey more. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, it's
It's a
really
difficult one.
annoying.
He doesn't. Our midfield is and always has been really. If you look, I mean, my dad always tells me in the 80s about Liverpool's midfield always winning, always competing. Go back through 2005, we won the Champions League because we fucking ran. Every single player tried. Klopp built that team on a foundation of will to win, running. All through Liverpool, your
Mhm.
team's built on running around. It's as
Yeah.
simple as that. And I don't think Harvey Elliott has the physical attributes of a Gravenberch, of a McAllister, of a Szoboszlai, certainly even of a Jones, by the way. And I think that's what puts him fourth choice. I don't think it's as simple as I think Robertson. I think Elliott is perhaps a better footballer than a couple of them players, but it's about getting the first stage done. You've got to give us the foundation to then go and win the game. Look, I
Mhm.
mean, look at Mane, Firmino, Salah. At what point could you ever have doubted their work rate? Henderson, Fabinho, Wijnaldum, the same thing. That's what won us the league that year in the Champions League. And that's what's probably going to win us it this year because we've worked hard in the position in midfield. And I
Yeah.
don't think Elliot is the right option to do that. I don't think he can offer the attributes Szoboszlai can do. That's the only reason he don't get in. I'd keep him, but
Yeah.
I feel bad for him. I've got to say.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Me too. I mean, and for the reasons you mentioned there, I think, look, ultimately, bit like Kwanzaa, or maybe even like Joe Gomez, or the replacement who's going to come in for Joe Gomez. You're not going to play an awful lot. You're not going to be guaranteed a ton of minutes if you're up against Kanate and Van Dijk,
Mm,
competing with them for a starting position. But the same in midfield, if you're competing with the likes of McAllister and Szoboszlai for a starting position, you're not going to play a ton of minutes. So he will have to persevere, which I'm sure he will. You can tell he's always happy to be on the pitch and playing. He always gives his absolute all for the team.
yeah.
I would keep. I think there's big potential there. I like an awful lot about his football. I think technically he's really good. He can often, as we've seen against PSG and certain times in Liverpool shirt,
Hmm.
have that big moment in a game to win you it or something like that, or a
Yeah.
really good pass or whatever to create a big chance. Yeah, look, he's young, he has big potential, and I think he's a good backup to whatever midfield it is, or if there's an injury, to bring him in to replace the injured player. Wataru
Hmm.
Endo.
Keep for me. I think he's done everything right this
Yeah,
year. When asked,
yeah,
yeah.
me too. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we even need to talk too much
I
about
think the
that. He's a
midfield.
great backup.
I agree. I actually think the midfield are all keeps. I wouldn't sell any of them. I don't think.
Really.
Yeah,
Uh,
none of
Ryan
them.
Gra Ryan Gravenberch, obvious keep.
Absolute keep.
Yeah, I
Yep.
mean, 22, one of the best midfielders in the league. Curtis Jones, some people would be
They would, but I
up and
think he's
down about
underrated.
this. Yeah,
Got to be a keep.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's a really good player. Like Elliot, technically really good. Even though Elliot, I would say his technical ability Uh, I would say both of their technical ability is good, but I would say about Jones, he's a lot more inconsistent than Elliott is. I swear Elliott puts in a lot more
Mm,
kind of really good solid performances than Jones does, whereas Jones can be really good or really, really bad. But yeah,
Yeah.
I keep him. I would. He's still a really good option, even though we definitely need to bring in one or two midfielders in the summer. Alexis McAllister is an obvious
Keep,
keep.
definitely.
Yeah, one of the best,
Yeah.
one of the most underrated players in the Premier
Definitely,
League.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's so important to this team. Dominic Szoboszlai is an obvious
Keep for me.
keep. Yeah,
Absolutely,
100%.
yeah.
But yeah, he's an obvious keep. And yeah, I mean, in the midfielders, what we have all keeps there. I'm sure one will probably go or something, maybe even two, but I'm sure one will anyway. Elliott's a
Mm,
big question mark, maybe even Curtis Jones as well, with Endo maybe. But yeah, I think everybody would agree with us there. There's nothing really wrong with that midfield. We
mm,
just need to add maybe one or two to
yeah.
it. On to the forwards. First up, we have Federico Chiesa. Hasn't had much of a look in this season, but I think it is an obvious keep, isn't it? Just play him, Arna,
Yeah.
please, for the love of God. I mean, come on.
And one of the most frustrating things in the Newcastle game was obviously one not winning the trophy, but Chiesa coming on being our best player.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous, mate.
it's so weird. It really, really is, and it frustrated me. Actually, I got even more frustrated after Chiesa scored last Sunday than I was actually anyways happy. I knew we weren't going to get an equalizer, and like Chiesa can do what our other forwards can't, bar Salah, bar
Yeah.
Gakpo. But yeah, easy keep. Luis Diaz. Now, for me, we went through this only just before or just under a year ago. And
Right.
I know you like Luis Diaz, but it's funny. Scaife, this time, my friend, we are having the exact same conversation. And that is enough in itself to
You'll have
say
to refresh me, Jonathan. What conversation did we have?
the same. We had a conversation on your channel just under a year ago. Um, and I was saying we can do better. We can absolutely do better, and we need to see better next season. Obviously, my rating for his season last season was lower than yours. It was like a C, and yours was a B, I think. But this season started off brilliantly. I'm like,
Mm.
okay, we're here. This is it. This is it. Now we've finally got a really good winger, a half decent replacement to what we had with Mane. And then just since November, since that hat trick I was there against Leverkusen, nothing. Nothing. He's got like one goal this year. He had 5 goals, I think, after the first 5 games or 6 games in
Mm.
the Premier League. And he's got like three since. Like, he's fine, but he's not going to win you anything. And look, you might say, you might point to the Premier League this season. That's Mohamed
I
Salah.
will. I'll point it to the Premier League.
That's Mohamed Salah, mate. That's Mohamed Salah, and that's also Cody Gakpo chipping in, being played in his actual right position, because Luis
My argument
Diaz
is it's very hard to score when you got someone like Salah, 44 contributions he's on now in the
yeah,
Premier League alone. It's very hard to do anything when a player's dominating like that. My argument for Diaz has always been, and I always look at Man United, I think, I look at Rashford, I look at I mean, let's just say Rashford. I think Rashford is a good footballer, but I think his work ethic last year was embarrassing. When you watched him walk around, strut around, not run back, you can. Since Diaz joined, we've never said that about Luis Diaz. Even if he has a bad game, I can never look at him and say you are not trying. You should come off based on your work ethic. He's always run. He's always tried. And I said to you before, Liverpool's teams have always been built on that. It's just what he's doing in front of goal. I don't think it's good enough. I'm not, I mean, I want to keep him, but I'm not going to sit there and be like, well, he's actually scoring goals because he just
Mhm.
isn't. And I look at Darwin Nunes, and I think we should sell Nunes personally. And you could argue, well, they're doing the same thing. I'd argue Nunes tries and runs, and I
Yes,
mean, they're both not scoring. That's the argument. I actually think I'm going to concede this and say I'm genuinely just biased to a player. I've always declined me being biased to a player, but when I'm watching Diaz and someone next to me in pub will be going, "Oh, he's shit," I'll look at him and think he's right. He actually is probably right at
Mhm.
times here. I'm just so obsessed with this player and what he stands for.
Mhm.
I can't listen to that. Do you know what I mean? You've probably had that in times where you just love a player. You
Yeah.
love a player. You get behind him. I'm almost like oblivious to the fact of the things you're saying, but I know you're right. I know you're right.
Fair. No, I respect that. I respect that because I really thought that we were going to have big disagreements, massive disagreements there. Look, I will. say he's definitely better than Nunez. Obviously, they're different positions, but
Mm,
he's a definite better footballer than Darwin Nunez. But the exact rebuttal that I was going to give you to what or you literally already said it was, look, both of them give their all. They absolutely
yeah.
do. If you don't for Liverpool Football Club, then you're not gonna, last very, very long at all. But ultimately, the quality's not there. He's 28. He's not getting any younger as well. I want
That's not
11.
old though. You can at your prime at 28. It's like I
I
think there's more. I
know.
think he's got more. We've seen what he can do, and I also think he's. I would say second choice left winger behind Gakpo.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
I would be more inclined to sell Nunes and Jota and replace both the strikers, bring in two, and keep
Mm,
that left side. I think Diaz is very robust. He will play 90 if asked of him. He'll play 120 minutes when he's been told to before. He can play all across the front three if needed. I think certainly he can play as a striker. I don't think he's as effective, but I think he offers so much. I think he's really good at progressing the ball. I think
mm.
recently though he's been doing it sideways a lot more than I would like. But he's one of our only players who gets set up and looks forward. And I look at Gakpo and I think he does the same thing. Nunes doesn't. Jota doesn't
Yeah.
anymore. I think I would keep him, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, that no, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, look, obviously, look, he's a good player, but I just feel we have to do better. I said when with the Gordon links last summer that he's a better player than Diaz, and then I was kind of regretting it for the first couple of months of the season,
Mm,
but he is better, and then I think we've
yeah,
seen more of that this season, and I wouldn't be surprised. Gordon obviously was. He wanted to go to Liverpool last summer, and it broke down because obviously Newcastle were looking for something like 80 million, but he's a player I could actually see replacing Diaz. Watch this space. Boyhood Liverpool fan. Obviously, there was links
mm,
before. I could see that happening, and he's a better player. He's better in front of goal, and he actually contributes a lot more to the team in terms of goals and assists. But yeah, Diaz, sell. Diogo Jota, absolutely 110%. Love him, but sell. Availability, non-existent. And that would have been enough. That would have been enough at the end of this season to say, okay, availability, look, he just doesn't have it. Like Joey Gomez, who we were talking about earlier, but his performances as well since he's came back from that injury.
mm,
Wow, wow. I mean, there's been games where I was happy to see Nunez play ahead of him, which speaks volumes. Like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
He's one of our only players who, of the last month, has genuinely looked off it. His touch has looked off. He's looked. He just looks slower. He's looked more
Mm.
sluggish than what's going on. You can't even say he's been overplayed because I think
Yeah.
that like left trio of the front three. Sorry, like left duo of the front three. They've been rotated all year. Nunes coming in
Mm.
for Jota, Diaz coming in for Gakpo, vice versa. Perhaps if Salah was looking a bit sluggish, you go, okay, he's played every game in every comp, but Jota hasn't. He's also been out for a while. He's at his rest. I think there's no excuses this time. He's fit, he's playing, and he's not playing well. I would probably agree with you and sell. I would feel
Yeah.
very harsh, but yeah, I'd go sell
Yeah.
reluctantly.
Yeah, like I hate it too. I hate it too because I love Diogo Jota. I do like Luis Diaz, but I have a lot more love for Diogo Jota. Obviously, he's been here for longer too, and he's always been such a prolific goal scorer. He's always been that player you can kind of hang your hat on. But yeah,
Mm,
it's just came to that time, and there was a big rumor over on X by some good sources a few months ago before all the Champions League and obviously Carabao Cup stuff and everything that Diaz, Jota, and Nunez are all likely to leave Liverpool in the summer, and that was. That's you could see it in how Slot's been managing the team as well, but
yeah,
I think it's three things that have to happen. So we might as well just mention Darwin Nunez, and we both agree on this, and I think every Liverpool fan does. And all I want to say about Darwin Nunez, and I can clip this up. I was right. I was right. I was right. I was right. The
go in
first
there, make it about you. Yes, but Pony, yeah,
he has. I mean, originally when he came to the club, I was doing that whole thing of, oh, he's gonna be so good. He's gonna be up there with Haaland. Look, was some of
that
that.
was embarrassing though, wasn't it? You saying that?
It was. I mean, was some of
Did you
that.
mean? Did you honestly mean that?
No, I didn't think he was going to be up there with Haaland. No, I didn't. But TikTok is TikTok, and you do stupid things for views, etc., etc. But I did think he would be around that, like lower than that, but around that. There was a tweet during the week or last week, it was just after the PSG game. Darwin Nunez's best performance at Anfield is for Benfica. It's a
So like,
fact. Yeah, and the big thing is that why wouldn't we have been so excited about signing this guy after the performance that he put in for Benfica? He scored against us in the home leg with the lovely finish into the corner. And then the second leg, I think he had two offside goals. He scored one or two. He was excellent. Like, so we had evidence to actually back up, our excitement, our, expectation of this player being really good, but he's crap. It's as simple as that.
I'd probably agree. Well, I wouldn't probably. I'd definitely agree. It's to the point now where a lot of our airtime online is talking about Nunes, and I think that speaks volumes. You should not be, even if it's positive or negative, having that much airtime on social media people's thing. It's never good. It clearly means
No.
something ain't going on, something ain't happening. It isn't happening. I'm bored of talking about him, honestly. Um, I don't hate him at all. I actually quite like him. I quite like him as a character. I think he's exactly what a Liverpool player should be. I think he should. I think he tries and he gives everything, but that just ain't enough. That isn't enough. As much as he's given, it ain't working. I'm not seeing the output in big games, big chances he's missing. I wonder how many points he's cost, and that seems very
Yeah.
harsh to say, but like seriously, a lot of these chances they stack up when you want to win a Premier League. I want a striker who's going to score from that far out, not kick it over the fucking stadium. Nunes has to be sell for me. I've got to say.
Yeah, yeah. I think even like the Nunez fans and all that at this stage, I mean they they're just dropping like flies week on week.
Yeah,
Like I mean
but
he's got such
people
a
assume it's like some sort of personal thing that we've
I
got against
know.
Nunes, or a
It's
rival fan will go, "Why are you hating?" No, 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 no. We'll
mm,
like him. We've seen
yeah.
so many great things in training. We like him as a character. We all want to get behind him. It just isn't working. And do you know how
Mm,
frustrating it is watching a player week in week out spend 80 million pounds on just not
I
work.
know.
It's very
I know.
frustrating. So
Yeah. I
that's what
mean,
I'd tell him. Yeah,
is he I said this a few weeks ago or a month or so ago. Is he Liverpool's worst signing ever? When you bring in the
I think
price tag
Navigator
into it.
was very poor.
The only thing is Naby was
But
terrible.
at least
Yeah,
he won
but
things. I would,
yeah,
yeah, Nunes for the price
and
tag. Young lad though, it's
like
close. I'll probably go Nunes.
yeah, I mean Naby Keita was shocking. I mean that shot against Real Madrid will
They're still
forever
trying to find the ball in
live,
that fucking car park, mate.
forever live rent free in my head. I
Mm,
swear. Like I was just like, oh, like when that actually happened. I mean, the most frustrating game ever, Liverpool versus Thibaut Courtois. But
how many of them have Nunes had? How many balls has he lost for us?
yeah, fact, open goals. You
Mm,
know, look at the catalog of missed chances. There's literally about like 15 absolute sitters that me or you would score. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Just aim the ball at the goal and keep it down. But
yeah.
yeah, no, it's a definite sell, and I think he is Liverpool's worst signing ever because the price tag, as you mentioned, and yeah, 100%. Cody Gakpo is an obvious,
Keep for me.
yeah,
Love him, yeah. Really good.
me
He
too.
had a really good kind of middle of the season, didn't he? To be fair, he's
Yeah,
had a good season. Like genuinely, he's had a good season. He's
yes.
probably been he has been our best forward behind Salah, I've got to say. I like the move to the left hand side. It seems almost inspired after the Euros, and it's really worked. He likes to pick the ball up deeper than Diaz. He likes to run more into the middle of the pitch as opposed to Diaz running at a defender trying to take a defender on. Yeah, Gakpo can
Mm,
take a man on, but his strengths are knocking it out his feet and getting the shot away.
yeah,
And how many times that worked this year? How many goals from outside the box, just inside the box, have we seen? He is
100%.
one who I could see starting for Liverpool
Mm,
the next 3, 4 years. I think as an understudy as well, it'd be a great choice. I think Gakpo is one of
yeah.
the best left wingers in the Prem.
Yeah, me too. Me too. 25 years old, of course. It's mad. He's only got 8 goals in the Premier League this season. Feels like a lot more, but
It feels like more in the cup. I think in EFL Cup he
yeah,
scored a few, didn't he?
I think he got 6, 7
Yeah.
in the Carabao Cup. He got a few in the Champions League. He's got a ton of goals at home this season. Huge goals as well. I mean, that
Mm.
goal against Manchester United was absolutely beautiful.
Yep.
And he's got so many of those this season, as you mentioned. But yeah, I was critical of him last season, but he was being played in the wrong position. Now it's slot this season. Obviously, that Dutch connection there as well, playing off the left. You can see he's, a top player, the
Yeah.
player that we signed from PSV. Now, the last one is an obvious keep, but will he stay is the question. Mohamed Salah.
I think he stays, and I think he's an obvious keep. Yeah. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, he's like obviously keep. I think he has been the best player in the world this season, 110%. He won't win the Ballon d'Or because now obviously we're not going to win the Champions League. I think if we got to the semi-finals of the Champions League, then he surely was a certified
Yeah.
winner of the Ballon d'Or because nobody's been near him this season. You mentioned like Rafinha and like Mbappe's in the conversation, stuff like that. Mbappe hasn't had a great season for his standards. Rafinha's obviously had a very good season, mostly in the Champions League and La Liga. I think he's only got like I don't know, like 11 or 12 goals or something. But yeah, I believe he will stay. I think if he doesn't stay, I mean, FSG will be finished at Liverpool. It's as simple as that. If either Van Dijk or Salah are allowed go, FSG will be finished at Liverpool. I think
I
that's a
probably
fair
agree,
thing to
honestly.
say.
I probably agree. It's a massive loss.
Yeah, I mean,
Allowing all three of them to run down at the same time. I
yeah,
also think it's not really spoken about. You have to double check me on this. I think Konate's runs out next year. I might have
it
got that wrong.
is.
I think he's very
It
soon.
is. It
So it's like
is.
even if you soften this blow and one of them manages to go, you're like, oh, Konate now we're going to tie down. And I imagine all these other players are coming soon after Diaz, etc. It's a really rough period, isn't it, for contracts? In particular, we're not signing anyone. You'd expect
Yeah.
it. Oh, we didn't sign anyone in summer, but at least we sorted the contracts out. We didn't even do
Yeah,
that.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And yeah, look, I think ultimately if Trent goes and Salah and Virgil stay, then I think we'll all say fair enough. But if you're allowing one of Mohamed Salah or Virgil van Dijk go, both absolute legends, all timers of Liverpool Football
Mm.
Club, then like there's no future for these owners at the club. I mean, there just isn't like, I mean, their approval rating amongst fans will go from, I don't know, probably lower than 50 to about 2 or
Oh yeah.
0%.
Yeah.
And rightly so. But yeah, that's the entirety of the Liverpool squad. That's the whole so every single player we went through. Obviously, as I said, there was some kind of youthful players that we didn't touch on. But ultimately, I mean, until we see more of them in a Liverpool shirt, like there is a
Yeah.
few loans there, obviously, like maybe like McConnell, Neone, talk about Rio Engamoa, a few loans maybe or whatever. It'll be interesting to see their development in the Liverpool squad in the future. But yeah, I have one question actually before we finish up, and it's on Mohamed Salah. Where would Liverpool be this season without Mohamed Salah or without
I
Mohamed
saw a
Salah
stat.
being as good as he's been?
I saw a stat on Twitter. I think Salah's been responsible for 31 points for Liverpool. That's nuts. Like that's I don't know where that
Yeah.
equates to. I don't think it's as simple as minusing 31 from where we are now. But I don't think we'll be certainly winning the league. I don't think we'll be top 2 or 3.
Yeah.
He's been the most influential player for me in the league this year.
Yeah, 100%. And like, for example, like an average Mohamed Salah season is still like 20 goals in the Premier League. But
Yeah.
say for example, if he wasn't there at all and you had another player in that position, yeah, I reckon Liverpool would probably be lower than Forest. We'd be scrapping it out top 4, top 5, top 6, you know. It's crazy. It's crazy. But
Yeah.
thank God that he has been as good as he has been this season. Anyway, we're happy with that, are we?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. We
You've had
disagreed
more
with a few of them.
sells.
I think Diaz,
You've
maybe
had more
Robertson
sells
at
though.
times.
You've had more sells than you said before the start of the video. It's when you go through the entire squad. You
Yeah,
kind
maybe you're right. Yeah, I think I'm at 5, maybe 5. You reckon? Well, I sold none of the
think so.
midfield. I would say Elliot if I had to, but none of the midfield. Diaz, yeah. Jota, don't know.
Johnny, you
Nunes,
said,
yeah.
yeah.
I think I did
Yeah,
say yeah with
Nunes.
Jota. Jota's a very close one, I must say. I wouldn't want to, but I might have to. It's one of them. One
Like
of the left backs, one of the centre backs, maybe 5. Yeah.
we were saying, obviously, well, we actually said Allison keep, Vidaslav Yaros keep, Queeve and Keller, we said sell because of the circumstances. Mamardashvili coming in. I'd love to see
Yeah.
Queeve stay. We had Trent keep. We had Bradley keep. We had Joe Gomez sell. We had Ibu keep. We had Gerald Kwanzaa. We had Gerald Kwanzaa. Well,
We agreed on just, yeah.
we had keep. But for fourth choice, we had Costa Simicas sell. We had Andy Robertson keep. We had Verge keep. Harvey Elliott, the whole midfield we had keep, and the only one that you were unsure of, as you mentioned, there was Harvey Elliott. And then the forwards, we had Fede, Chiesa keep. We had Luis Diaz sell, Diogo Jota sell, Cody Gakpo keep, Darwin Nunez sell, and Mohamed Salah keep. So
I'm still on Diaz keep, I've got to say. I can't be swayed on that one.
anybody who thinks like Scaife or well, anybody who agrees with me, anybody who agrees with Scaife on that Luis Diaz opinion or the differing opinions that we have on Luis Diaz, let me know in the comments. I think at this stage we're more the majority of Luis Diaz sell, but we will see. Anyway, thank you very much, Scaife, for coming on. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, mate. Enjoyed that. Thank you very much. Best of luck with the channel.
Thanks, pal. And likewise, obviously, Scaife, you're still doing your YouTube, aren't you?
Yeah, I've got a darts channel now on YouTube. I'm kind of focusing on. Yeah, so Dart Days. That one's called.
Dart Days, and your Scaife 51 on.
That's it.
Yeah, Scaife 51 on YouTube, on TikTok, on everything, isn't it? Really?
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. So make sure to go over and show Scaife some love. And yeah, like, subscribe, comment. I'm really looking forward to seeing all the comments on this because I'm sure there'll be plenty of agreements and disagreements. And yeah, cheers, Scaife. Have a
nice
good
one. See you later, guys. Thank you.
Soon.